So guys, today's topic is regarding inheritance and financial, non-financial inheritance problems. And I'm Ajinkya Thakur, founder and CEO at Digivil. So guys, if you see around you or if you check around your families, a lot of generations, a lot of people have been facing this problem of inheritance. And even though you have a traditional will or you have a, let's say, a will in place, still your family is not able to claim all your assets because the wills are not updated. There is a lack or loss of supportive documents. The wills are not properly defined, and many other problems. And so the result is you have a lot of unclaimed money in India. I mean, 1,24,000 crores of unclaimed money and counting. And to solve this problem, I mean, which I faced across my lifetime from the past 10 from the past 14 years since I'm in business, I have seen my paternal, maternal grandparents pass away, and then unfortunately leaving behind a lot of inheritance problems that my family had to face in terms of claiming their bank accounts, their insurance policies, their real estate, a lot of which was not known to the family, and I don't know how much is left unclaimed. So in Jan 2021, when I got the news that I'm going to be a father, I started with a solution. I started to look for a solution which will make sure that whatever I've earned for the past 13 years will be transferred to my kid, my wife, my parents if something goes wrong with me. And that's where I started looking around, talking to my friends. So the only solution I found, which was a traditional will, which is again not sufficient to solve the sufficient solution for the problem. But yes, eventually digging up my way, climbing up the ladders, and then figuring out and then landing up on Digivil, a solution which auto discovers your assets and then make sure that a communication is established between the records and your nominees without any dependency on any human. And that's the ultimate solution. Basically, our users opted for, our beta users who supported us with a lot of feedback during our versions of product, and finally we have landed on the 4th version of product, and it's just the launch is just pending due to an approval from PFRDA, else we would have launched the product for now, but it will be there in a few days. So when it comes to inheritance, you have a lot of real estate, gold, stocks, mutual fund, insurance, bonds, and so many unlisted investments. For example, unlisted equities, private borrowings, then you can say private lendings. And most of the things you don't let your families know because India is the hub of financial information sharing taboo. And again, when it comes to a taboo, to break it through, we need to come up with a revolution, and that's Digivil again. So what happens is you can make a will, but how are you going to make sure that your will is going to communicate with your family without any human dependency? And again, with human dependencies, there are a lot of problems, like the wills are registered, non-registered, the wills are updated, not updated with recent assets reduction, addition. And when it comes to will registration, again, I came across a lot of cases. I came across at least 100 cases in the past 3 months where we found that even registered wills were not accepted by government officers, or let's say you can call it tedious bureaucracy, which eventually led in the family going through a lot of problems and a lot of corruption to make sure that they claim their assets. So in order to make sure that your families inherit what you have earned for them, you have to opt for a solution which will keep an updated record of your assets, because even though you might be keeping an updated records, but you don't share it with your family, or even though you share it them with your family, what happens is they forget about it. So you share something with them right now and ask them 6 months down the line, they are not going to be updated with it. Again, a loss of money, a loss of your earnings, a lot of unclaimed money. So to make sure that you deal with all these things, I'll tell you what's the solution. you have to have a financial and non-financial inheritance solution, which starts right with discovery of your assets, savings, investments, if any liabilities, establishing communication channels, and after the communication between you and your family, a claim process which your family gets for all your assets, hassle free at their doorstep. Because after you, your family is not in that state of mind to go through all these offices, to go through all these bureaucrats and other officers, and then explain them about क्यों हुआ, कैसे हुआ, क्या हुआ, and then filling up all the forms. So it's better to have a service manager appointed to you and getting all the claims on one single platform rather than going out around 100 different offices. Now, when it comes to nomination, when you just open a bank account, what do they ask you? They ask you for your nominee name and age. They don't ask for their contact details. And even if they do, I don't know any bank which has ever contacted a nominee on timely updates regarding the account holder holding the account in the bank. So that's one problem. And when it comes to insurance companies, you know how they work and what kind of business model they use. And again, do you know that only 2% of the claims, I mean, for example, if you sell insurance to 100 people, only 2% of the people go and claim something. That's the business model. That's the inside business model. The number may be increase, decrease, but yeah, that's one of their prime models through which they run a business. Again, and it comes to stocks, bonds. Now with top brokers or very good innovators like Zerodha, they came up with a solution of including the nominee contact details and explaining them or notifying them about their about the holdings or about the accounts they hold over there. Just a sec. Notifying the nominees about the account holders, their family members, their only members they hold with them, and that's a very good solution. I mean, at least nothing remains unclaimed in terms with Zerodha when it comes to your stocks, bonds, whatever you buy from them. When it comes to real estate, just try out something, and I'm sure you're gonna be surprised. Help out a family to claim their real estate from their passed on to get it registered to their hirer's name, and you'll be surprised. Even though you have all the documents in place, you're still gonna have to face a lot of bureaucracy and then corruption as well. But again, with a service manager, with some claim experts, the process gets easy and hassle free. And that's one of the solutions Digivil offers. If anyone has any questions, you can start off. Okay. No questions. So let me explain you something about financial and non-financial. So now when it comes to financial and non-financial assets, a financial asset can be easily described as your stock, bond, equity, then your insurance, your mutual fund holding. And when it comes to your non-financial assets, then again you have the real estates you own. So in real estates, again, a lot of categories, for example, properties, your commercial spaces, office spaces, and then you have flats, you have a lot of jewelry. Then you have an for example, जो locker की चोरी होती है. Then you have as simple as a cryptocurrency, but it's not regulated, that's why I'm calling it non-financial. You have a startup investment, you have something like a kitty party investment. Then you might have a small borrowing from someone, you might have a small lending with someone. A lot of things to consider when it comes to both financial and non-financial in inheriting assets. And plus, when it comes to liabilities, so liability is something which you owe to someone, and with that liability, for example, as simple as a home loan, as simple as a you can say personal loan. Whenever you buy a loan, nowadays you get an insurance which covers the loan. If something happens to you, the company pays up for the loan. So, how many of you have a loan, and how many of you have informed your family about the insurance that's covering the loan in your absence? And how many of you think that the company or the bank is going to make sure that your family is not harassed after you? If you already have a will, you can still be a part of DigiWill. So as I explained, having a will is something which you will do multiple times in your life. For example, you make one at 35-40, you make one at 45-50, you make one at 60. So will, like I said, is a mere instrument of distribution. And DigiWill is a whole process or a whole platform for inheritance, right from asset discovery to tracking a person's life status to establishing communication of financial records, non-financial records with the legal heirs, nominees and loved ones. DigiWill is on a mission to make sure that we curb the rise of unclaimed money in India and globally. And I'm sure we're going to achieve that very soon. We have, I don't know how many of you guys have heard that, but we have at least 1,000 customers who are waiting to pay for the product, who are waiting to use the product as soon as it launches. And how frequent do you hear that a product before launch has a paid waiting list? You guys have any more questions? Okay, so thank you for joining the live. This was a small informative session for all of you. I hope it was. If you have any questions, you can DM us directly and download DigiWill as soon as it launched or join our waiting list. It's on the website www.yourdigital.com.